Okay, hi everyone, welcome to Xolerance. This is my channel, and this is the channel that I made long ago so that I could play games with my sisters and my cousin, but right now, you see me in the middle of a game of Pong, and a very special game, I might add. How did I achieve this? But I wanted Pong to be the backdrop to something that I actually plan on doing, that I really want to do, that I'm not really sure people have done. People have gone through the decades of gaming, but I want to go about it in a let's play commentary sort of way. And I understand I'm not like the most seasoned let's play commentator. When it's all said and done, I'm pretty sure there are other people who have a lot more talent, a lot more money, and could do this list better than me. But speaking of this list starts with Pong, 1972. The first Atari game that actually really broke the mainstream, because before that you didn't really have video games. What you had is Birdie and the Brain, Tennis for Two, which is made by a guy who made the first atomic bomb, by the way. Not solely, you know, it's a team effort. And Space War, which is just a decade before, but Pong was the one to break it into the mainstream. So right there, that for me is what births video games, because from then on, that's how you get the copycats of the industry, because when you get copycats, that's when you know you got success on your hands, right? But beyond that, the impact of Pong and the philosophy that came with it, along with other Atari games, is, I think, very evident in today's games. And then beyond that, you go into the games that Pong influenced, and maybe it influenced Mario. And then you just see how, like, Mario made Sonic, and then you see how Sonic influenced games. But there's not even that. You can just look at Mario as an icon going into racing. You can go into Sonic and its music making. Forget about that, what about the companies that own those games? You want to look at Zelda as well, and how Zelda revolutionized open world gaming? You wouldn't have Grand Theft Auto, and you wouldn't have Spider-Man 2, without The Legend of Zelda. One of my goals actually, and what I've really been wanting to do for a long while, I mean, I've been collecting games for about 7 years. For most of my 20s, I just wanted to see the evolution of video games, and right now, I think I'm at a point where I can do it the best that I ever can, and I would just love to go through it on YouTube as my personal diary. With this catalog of video games that I currently own, I can actually go into what I think are some of the best games that are there to offer over 54 years of video games, because, you know, it's 2026, and as you can see, I start with 1972 on this list. And yeah, you might see Atari 50, what does that mean? And this is the point that I also have to make with some of these games. The way that I'm going to tackle this whole timeline, this whole passage of time, really, it's going to include some collections, it's going to include some ports. When it's all said and done, a lot of games, just like any other art, can become lost media, and sometimes the only way to access those games now is actually through emulation, ports, collections, and yeah, you just gotta wait until like a company actually allows a game to be remastered, maybe, remade. Not that I want to go for that, because I do believe in the original vision being preserved as best as it can, being the best representation of that game and the impact that it had in its prime, in its release.
You are not authorized to operate this equipment.
Quiet or I'll crush you.
At the moment where it was the most successful, when it was the most recognizable thing, when Pong was at its best, it was at its best on the arcade machine, where the same arcade machine on its first day broke down because too many people were stuffing it with coins. Not just that, I am actually having a couple struggles. I think one of the biggest points on my mind recently is actually the fact that I have Dragon Quest. But how am I supposed to play the first 3 games? The first 3 games are just not accessible on a Nintendo Switch, for example. Also, when it comes to emulation, I don't feel comfortable emulating unless I actually own the game. So for now, it's like Dragon Quest is a game that I think has such an impact on the RPG genre, and I'm not even an RPG guy, not to quote Scott the Woz or anything, but like, I feel like Dragon Quest is a game that's worth going into, and you know, you can probably tell because of the Pokemon music I've been playing that I'm already okay with RPGs, and man, I'ma be okay with all RPGs, I think so. But the problem is, you only have the original game, but somehow it got ported on the mobile, and that mobile version was then ported over onto the Switch, so you're really getting like a fraction of the original experience. And nowadays you also have the HD remakes. What if you play the HD remakes? The preferred playstyle people have is the third one, because that came out first, and then the first game, and then the second game. So I'm kind of cornered there. But if I were to just go off of this list, you know, the rest of it is still okay. Adventure, I got that down in the bag. It's in the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection. Pac-Man, it's in the Pac-Man Museum Plus. And you know, the other thing with some of these games is that you do have the NES version on, like, I think it's the Namco Museum. And then you also have the arcade version. And I do want to play the best version that I possibly can for some of these games. The version of the game that became the juggernaut that it was. You know, and I don't feel like actually just going through these games because, hey, there's some of the biggest hits in history. I have personal connections with some of these games and a real interest in how they go. You know, I actually played a little bit of the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection. Luna Land, I just want to land, brother. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I swear I'm going to go into this and I'm going to learn. Even Black Widow, where is Black Widow? Black Widow came later. Black Widow is here. This is actually a fun Atari game. Q-Bird is cool, and this is actually going to bring me to another whole thing where you might remember Q-Bird from Wreck-It Ralph. And the other thing about some of these games is actually having their own list of other media outside of video games. Like, look at all this stuff from Pokemon. They had their anime, they had their movies. I actually feel like going through a bunch of this stuff to see how some of the lore was built up, for example in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, because I'm a bit of a fighting game. I always like the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I like Street Fighter 6, man, I was going in, but not as much as I did with Injustice, because I'm a superhero guy. That's why I got into Marvel vs. Capcom, that's why I got into Street Fighter through that, and that's why I got into Injustice and then Mortal Kombat through that. And then yeah, Duck Hunt. That's like, I have a real interest in figuring out how some of these games play, and mind you, yeah, some of these games aren't going to be on their original hardware. But again, sometimes the best way that we're able to play some of these games is just through modern hardware, because a lot of these games, when they become lost media, the only way to recover them and the only way to play them is not with some of these broken cartridges, it's not with some of these almost soon to be dead consoles that are very hard to restore. Because I'm looking at like my Xbox, for example, my original Xbox that I've had for basically my whole life. I am older than the Xbox, just for the record. That Xbox, that game console, I swear it's so fragile. It's gonna break at some point, and I'm so afraid of that happening because I already had to fix it. I had a problem with the disc tray. I had a problem with the laser trying to read the disc. I had a problem with the power, and it's like I did as much as I could, but now it's like it seems that same, instead of having to go for the original experience of playing Halo on the Xbox, I might have to play Halo on the Xbox 360 or maybe even the Master Chief Collection. But man, we go through so much more of these years, and you'll find out like Bubble Bobble, dude. And then this going into Puzzle Bobble, that's a fun game. That's the game that I don't think gets recognized enough. Ice Climbers as well, you really get recognized only for being in Super Smash Bros., but this is a game that I love, and you've seen me play it twice on this channel. I love the music. I love the verticality. I love the fact that it's simple fun. It's age, but who cares if it's age? I don't really see age as a big deal. These games were made during that time when people were figuring stuff out. And so if you see people figuring out Ice Climber, you see people then figuring out Super Mario Brothers, and when they figure out Super Mario Brothers, man, do they just get better with Super Mario Brothers 2, and then 3. And 3 is regarded as one of the best games ever, and that's kind of what I want to go for. And then you just go from that, and then you go into World, and then you go into Yoshi's Island, which has like some of my favorite music in video games as well. And dude, all of this is such a trip. It is so cool. It is so fun to see some of these games just coming out and just absolutely blasting mainstream media because they're so damn fun. So much so that the mainstream media had to blast back. It's like, how is video games gonna make our kids violent? Well, with Mortal Kombat on the way, with all this blood that's coming on display, well, that's what's aggravating the kids. And then you get like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas coming out, and all of a sudden crime drops. Or was it Grand Theft Auto 3? Or was it just every single one of those Grand Theft Autos? I don't know. Something about games is therapeutic, you know? It's so sick. Some of these games are also a way for me to play them for the first time. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Mega Man, I've only ever played the first game. People love Mega Man 2. It's one of the greatest of all time, apparently. I've heard the Mega Man X vs. Zero music, and that's pretty sick, I gotta say. So much so that I actually had another channel where I try to make my own version of a mix between that and the Infinite version. Very bad mix. I did that on iMovie. But I'd love to go into Mega Man. I'd love to see what's up after the first game, and that also means having to replay the first game, which is cool. I've had the practice. I can go at it again. And speaking of having practice, I had practice on Resident Evil recently. So imagine me going back to that game. But then, oh man, I'm also thinking as well, like Resident Evil, speaking of, I needed a guide basically to get through some of that game. And with games like The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, my gosh, you're gonna need a guide. And I'm all cool for that. Anyways, I feel like I'm rambling now, but the truth is, I have a whole library of games that I have access to. And yeah, it goes from the 70s up until modern day, because again, being a superhero fan, I've gotta go into Spider-Man 2, Insomniac Spider-Man 2. And then Marvel's Wolverine is just around the corner. About time, right? I can't wait to go through Call of Duty, honestly. Like, I'm waiting to go for that first game. I got the second game as well on Steam. I think the third game I have on the Xbox, and then Modern Warfare, then Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, World at War, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, if I didn't already say that. Spoilers alert, that's all I want to play with those Call of Duty games, nothing after. But yeah, it's just going on from there. And seeing how all these franchises that I'm hoping to fall in love with as well, like Dragon Quest. I've never played a Dragon Quest game, but I love to see what it's like with at least the first 3 games. Final Fantasy, I am such a big Kingdom Hearts fan. Not so big that I'm gonna buy like a Keyblade, like how people buy lightsabers because they're such suckers for Star Wars, saying that I have a lightsaber. But with Kingdom Hearts, it's like, I know nothing about Cloud, but I'd love to figure him out. I'd love to see his background. I'd love to see why Final Fantasy VII is so well regarded. Why is this the character that made it into Super Smash Bros? You know, along with Ice Climbers, along with Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, and then I also love Crash Bandicoot. I love those platformers too, because I'm more of a platformer guy, and I love fighters, and I love first-person shooters. And honestly, even when it came to Toys to Life games that came out in the like early to mid 2010s, thank goodness that model died. But I was a fan of those games because at the end of the day, even if they were costly, they were some fine games. There was so much to cover that I am so willing to go into it, and hopefully you can be there to enjoy and endure 54 years. By the time of recording this, 54 years of video game history. And on a side note, I wouldn't worry about burnout because I've actually been going on a little frenzy myself with, I've done Kingdom Hearts before. I did all those games in my late teens trying to get ready for Kingdom Hearts 3. And currently, even though it's been going on since just a few months before the eShop closed on the 3DS, I've been going for Pokemon too. You know, there's also games in between all over there, but like, I've been doing this marathon with Pokemon, and yeah, sometimes when it's all said and done, it is one Pokemon game after the other, but what breaks up the monotony of it all is actually those other games that I play in between, like a Marvel Rivals, for example, so I don't think I'm really gonna get burnt out from doing this. Like, I don't think I will at all. So even if I'm not the most consistent uploader on YouTube, because you can see that sometimes, for whatever reason, I keep taking breaks around the start of the year, this is what I've been wanting to do for the past however many years I've uploaded videos with my sisters and with my cousin and with any of my friends, any other cousins that were around as well. It's like, it's going through video games history, from Pong to Millipede, Donkey Kong to Bonanza, Final Fantasy to Kingdom Hearts, Doom to Modern Warfare 2, Castlevania to Metroid Dread, Street Fighter to Devil May Cry 5, Silver Surfer, Insomniac Spider-Man, and there's just so much more that's going on around there. And I even plan on talking about other media that align with those game franchises. Like, I've never seen the Super Mario Brothers movie, not the original one. Good luck if I do. I mean, good luck to me when I do, because I'm going to just to go through all the video game history. So to all the people who want to go on this road to see at least 54 years of evolution, then feel free to subscribe, maybe even like my video and find out more of what I've played recently, because I do plan on maybe not repeating some games, but also repeating others like Ice Climber and Resident Evil. And then hopefully, if you look at the banner icon that I have, there's games like Shrek 2 as well, Spider-Man 2, and I hope to go through them as well. And yeah, just to go back and reiterate, when it comes to remasters, ports, so on and so forth, it is going to be a mix. I'm going to try my hardest to go for the original versions of these games, even if the originals are just ported over. I don't want to have to go through remakes, Dragon Quest might be that one painful exception I have to make. We have means of playing these games as close to the original version as we possibly can, so I would hope people enjoy this. Join me if you want. I'm gonna go through it. I don't care if I keep getting about 12 views, 20 views, 10 views for each video. This is a diary that is going to last me years. This is a Herculean task. So feel free to join. Thank you if you do. Thank you for watching this video if you have. Thank you for all the people who have been watching my videos, for those people who have subscribed over the years as well. Thank you for all the people actually who recently just watched all my Resident Evil videos, because that was a fun series to go through. I never went through Resident Evil before. And that's kind of the experience I want to have when going through these other games. And mind you, even if I didn't really like the first half of my Resident Evil series, I hope that people get that understanding of what I'm trying to do, and I guess the quality of my videos. So yeah, everyone, here's to the evolution of video games. Better get back to it. Well, I don't know. This is gonna... Oh, there we go. It changed. Okay. Woohoo! Oh, damn it.